Welcome, friend,
to the How-To Heretic.
I'm Uncle Mark.
And I'm Uncle Dan.
I'm Uncle Doug.
And this is your user's guide to life on the outside.
Yup, leaving religion's your first step into a larger, better world.
But it can also be a scary world. Things work differently now.
Never fear, that's why we're here.
We're your audio uncles! And with help from good friends and experts in all sorts of fields.
We're going to share the stories and seek the knowledge to build a great life.
After all, you only get one that we know of, so you'd better make the most of it.
Yeehaw! Uncles,
Hello.
Howdy.
another show.
Indeed.
Back on the horse.
We're back on that horse. We're back on or off the wagon, depending on
Where the drinks are?
where I can get a free drink.
Riding our four horses into the apocalypse.
I've
got two.
I think we have what I would call a widely varied show today.
Yeah, sure, we're all over the map.
We're all over the map. Uncle Doug, you're going to talk about
A new religion I will introduce you to.
that you apparently can join.
Yeah.
If you want.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk about a history mystery and how kidnapping Jews is okay to do on February 7th.
Yeah, if you do it right.
If you do it right.
You guys just it involves water. Don't worry about
It
it.
always involves water.
And then I'm going to do a Bible story.
Dan is going to confound us.
We're going to Sunday school, you guys.
So-
it's always confusing at Dan's Sunday school.
So strap in. It's weird. And just a quick announcement for anybody that didn't know this. Your uncles Dan and I were on god-awful movies this past week.
It's true.
It was a lot of fun. We
Uncle Doug was not invited.
we reviewed a Martin Scorsese movie, which was not the easiest thing I've ever done.
That was actually some movies are super easy to shit on, and some movies you got to work for it.
Yeah, so check it out. It was The Silence. I think it's episode 180. And with that, let's do a show. Uncle Dan,
What? Yes.
sometimes I think, despite being atheist,
What?
I think that there is something that binds us all together.
I'm still processing this whole atheist thing.
And it's not just sinew and tendon.
Okay.
Something that binds us all together across time and space.
Football. That's right.
Welcome to Super Bowl
Doing
Sunday.
the Super Bowl Sunday edition.
American football. or maybe it's something in our blood.
Oh, God.
There seems to be some disagreement about that.
You know what? How dare you even mention that in the context of this?
Doug, what's your opinion here?
Well, since I covered the Klingon religion back in episode 36, I thought I would take on another sci-fi religion.
Equal time.
Equal time, that's right.
They demand equal
We're
time.
mandated.
okay, nerds, we heard you.
And as Uncle Mark really bummed us the fuck out last week, I wanted to research something that didn't make me want to crawl under a rock.
Oh.
So today we're going to talk about Jediism.
Oh.
Yeah,
A real religion it is.
that's exactly right.
Good Lord.
I don't think we can actually include that in the podcast without getting sued.
We can.
Can you do the Frank Oz voice?
I think so.
Okay.
He doesn't own it's satire. It's
He's
a
dead.
parody.
He's dead anyway.
He is?
Frank Oz?
No.
Oh, no.
Jim Henson.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, good Lord.
Jesus is also dead.
Thank God we've gone down this road.
Well, that's what Frank Oz killed him. That's what it was. Okay, proceed, Doug. Because he was the better swordsman. He was the better.
That's right. So Jediism as a nominal religious movement first burst onto the scene in 2001 when the semi-new World Wide Web enabled Star Wars fans around the world to communicate with each other. This led to one of the world's first viral kind of global moments when hundreds of thousands of people put Jedi as their religion in the 2001 census.
Hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands.
Wow. Okay.
This included some 70,000 in Australia, 21,000 in Canada, 52,000 in New Zealand, and over 400,000 in the UK.
Wow.
There were much smaller populations in Croatia, the Czech Republic, and even Turkey that put Jedi down as their religion. But yeah, in the UK, it was the fourth largest religious group. It superseded Hinduism, Scientology, Mormonism.
Really?
Really?
More than Hinduism?
Yeah. It was, I believe it was Islam, Christianity, and it might have been Hinduism that beat him out.
Wow.
But it was right there. So anyway.
Wow.
Just to go back a little bit and talk about where this comes from, because it's interesting in the context of our podcast to talk about a religion whose origins we can trace all the way back to the 1970s.
Yeah.
The term was made up by George Lucas and is either derived from the Japanese term, forgive me, jidegeki, which refers to samurai period dramas, or from Edgar Rice Burroughs' Barsoom series, in which Jed means king and Jedak means emperor. So Lucas and Lucas has claimed that sci-fi series was a big inspiration for the Star Wars, origin universe. So,
Doug, don't worry about Japanese racism at this point. If any of our listeners heard Uncle Dan and I on Gamcast this past week,
they're done. They're gone.
We have used up all the Japanese racism possible. So
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, good. Well,
you're safe.
I feel liberated.
We've used up the strategic reserve.
That's right. So the actual origin's a little bit mysterious, but George Lucas did make it up. And as we all know, the original Star Wars was released in 1977, with the 2 follow-up films, The Empire Strikes Back and The Return of the Jedi, which were released in 80 and 83, respectively. Then nothing. That was it. Well,
And if only it had stayed that way.
exactly. After that, we were left with nothing except, of course, the Ewok Adventure and Ewoks: The Battle for Endor, but that was pretty thin gruel.
Oh, no. There was something else in there.
Well, it was a little earlier.
Okay.
And we'll talk about
Okay.
that.
For treating true fans.
There is a dark mark darker than Jar Jar Binks lurking in the body of the Star Wars universe. So fans of the franchise had to settle for playing with Star Wars figures until they got bored and dropped them off their roofs into buckets of water, causing their heads to break off.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
Fairly specific example, but that's what I did. And that was it. There were no more movies. Then in 1999, in an all-too-apt allegory of God becoming angry at the world he'd created and deciding to destroy it utterly,
Yes.
George Lucas released Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So I myself had to confront my own personal wall of fire as I sat in the Man Chinese Theater for the midnight showing of
What?
that, for real.
You went out to Los
I drove
Angeles
to Los Angeles
for this event.
to see this movie.
Shut your mouth.
A friend of ours got us tickets to that showing, and I don't know why.
Did you stand in line? In the
Yeah, with all the people dressed as Darth Vader and
Which of the cool new princess outfits did you wear?
oh no, I was Jar Jar Binks all the way.
Okay.
You had never heard of Jar Jar Binks yet. You were in it was a simpler, better time.
Innocent. Yeah, so I had to sit through that botched colonoscopy of a movie, and I did not pass the test. I lost my faith.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in that, and I'm of the generation where the first Star Wars was a fucking supernova.
Oh, yeah.
Of color and excitement, and nothing like it had ever been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was, religion. That was as
Yeah.
close as I felt to a religious experience. So when I sat in the Phantom Menace and I had that smile on my face,
It's okay.
like
It's
your
gonna be
whole
okay.
face is smiling, and then your eyes stop smiling, but your mouth is still smiling, and you're kind of looking
Yeah.
around the room like, this is good, right?
You guys seeing what I'm seeing?
Okay, well, there's the weird kid, but it's okay.
It's gonna be okay.
And
It's okay.
there's the Jamaican guy. That's strange.
A little weird.
Like that kid. Do you remember that they publicized heavily the international years-long search to find the right kid to
Yeah.
play Anakin Skywalker,
Yeah.
and then that's what they found?
Yeah. Poor actors had a rough go of it.
Yeah,
since
he's had a
then.
super rough go since then. Poor
Um,
guy.
He shouldn't have sucked.
So
Take that, 7-year-olds everywhere.
So it comes as a bit of a surprise to me that so many people would self-identify as Jedi in the immediate wake of the introduction of Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
But then again, I once believed in prehistoric wooden submarines, so who am I to judge?
Yeah,
Right.
that's a good point.
The current slate of Jedi sects are predictably predominantly male, white, and English-speaking.
Shocking.
Although
Wait, what?
I know, hold the phones. There are devotees.
But that's not how the
all over
Jedis
world.
were in the movies. Oh, yes, they were.
Oh, yes, sir.
Exactly.
There's like the one black dude and the one lady that had things coming out of the top of her head.
Jediism is much like atheism.
Exactly. Exactly. And we'll talk a little bit about
It's a
that.
bunch of pissed off white dudes who want to fight.
It's basically it's by and large, there's no way to know, but it seems very clear that this movement is pioneered and pushed by atheists.
Ah,
So many of the sects are dedicated to meditation and discussion and do not engage in lightsaber battles or fight training. However, some sects absolutely do engage in lightsaber battles.
I just took a drink of water when you said that. I nearly hosed Dan down.
There are sects that absolutely engage in lightsaber battles, which range from barely better than the Star Wars kid to absolutely incredible choreography. There are some that I watch and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Although I gotta say, hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster, if you ask me.
I don't believe in luck. Okay, for most of the sects, converting or joining is mostly registering at their website. In fact, the Jedi religion exists mostly online, which is really interesting, because if there's anything out there that is, a good comparison to the Force, it's the internet. It's all around us, and it's definitely either light or very dark.
Right.
When I tried to, and it's also totally decentralized. There's no clergy. There's no official hierarchy. I went to register at the Temple of the Jedi Order website, and unfortunately it told me that usernames containing Master, Darth, Lord, or titles will be deleted. So, since I couldn't be called Darth Hungus, I didn't register.
You couldn't be Obi... Oh, never mind. I didn't have it. I was diving in without I tried to fly without
I
it.
didn't stick the landing.
Darth Douglas.
Uncle Darth.
Uncle Darth. So becoming a Jedi Knight differs depending on which sect you belong to. Some ascend based on levels of meditation and scholarship, some based on saber mastery. And some of the videos of them practicing their saber mastery are as sad as you think they are. Okay, most of the sects follow some basic and widespread doctrines, such as the Code, which is pretty universal among all the Jedi sects. And the Code is emotion yet peace, ignorance yet knowledge, passion yet serenity, chaos yet harmony, death yet the Force. There are also 3 tenets, which are focus, knowledge, and wisdom.
Doesn't really roll off the tongue, does
It's a bit hokey,
Yeah.
but as we go through this stuff, it's not bad. It's harmless, and it's mostly good things to live by.
And if you get in a fight, you can just look the person right in the eye and say, "If you strike me down, I will become more powerful than you could ever
And then
imagine."
you hit him on the elbow with your dowel, and they go, "Ow!"
Is part of saber mastery, by the way, is it doing the sounds? Like if you're really good, you go.
Well, I probably. And the kind of the technology, I'm using air quotes, of the lightsabers has gotten kind of great. They look pretty good.
Okay.
Anyway,
Don't get carried away, Doug.
There's also a creed, which I won't read much of, but it's derived from the prayer of St. Francis Assisi. And it says, "I am a Jedi, an instrument of peace. Where there is hatred, I shall bring love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope," etc. And it keeps going. There are also 16 teachings and 21 maxims. And there's also 33 additional Jedi teachings to live by. We will not talk about them. But mostly, occasionally,
religion is all fun and games till it gets real.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Most of it's pretty fluffy, and in some cases it gets a bit wooey.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's totally sound things, ways to live a modern, healthy life.
You know that some of these guys have spent hours trying to make something come to their hand.
That was
for sure. For sure.
Without, yeah.
Those were all written by Darth Deepak.
Obi-Wan Chopra.
Yeah. But it's all pretty harmless and clearly written by people with the same kind of point of view as us. And most of this stuff exists on chat rooms. So this religion really, really exists online. Like there are some physical Jedi temples that are kind of meditation rooms and stuff, and then there's always them battling each other with lightsabers in the park.
There's that one in West Tampa that's really nice. The greater Tampa area.
But for example, there's this list of beliefs on the Temple of the Jedi Order is kind of the main vein of the Jedi religion. There's a bunch of different ones. But the most people that belong to the Jedi religion, organized religion, belong to the Jedi Temple. And amongst their list of beliefs are a couple I'll read because I think they're fine. Quote, "Jedis believe in the sanctity of the human person. We oppose the use of torture and cruel or unusual punishment, including the death penalty." Great. "Jedis believe in a society that does not discriminate on the basis of sexual orientation or circumstances of birth such as gender, ethnicity, or national origin." Fantastic.
Does this apply to droids, or is it just for humans?
I think that there's a huge amount of crossover with the Satanic Temple.
Yeah, right? Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. And lastly, I'll just read this one. "In the separation of religion and government and the freedom of speech, association, and expression." Great.
Okay.
There is scarce little talk in these Jedi sects about what might be the worst thing George Lucas has done, and I am including the Christmas special, and that is the midichlorians.
Yeah.
If you remember in Episode 1, Lucas turned what was a universally accessible and unifying force into a viral infection.
Yeah.
Right, or almost a royal bloodline.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right, that suddenly there was an exclusivity to it where there had not been before.
That's right.
Yeah.
Where a humble, farm boy and whatever wombat killer on Tatooine had as much access to it as Yoda.
That's what was so great about it.
Right.
We all could tap into
The
this
universality
thing.
of it.
Exactly.
Right. And even if even if it was stronger for certain people or whatever, like you could train it.
But it was about effort, and anyone could be a Jedi if you worked hard enough at it.
Right. Until George Lucas forgot what his own goddamn movies were about
Exactly.
and ruined it for everybody. And all of you millennials that like the prequels are wrong, and shut your holes.
And should be ashamed of yourselves.
Just shut up.
Yes,
we
please.
know more than you do. Shut up.
Please watch Red Letter Media's
Oh, for sure.
reviews of the prequels, because your brain will break about how
It's worse than you think.
you thought they were bad. You missed a lot.
Wow.
Right?
So most Jedi sects choose to ignore the midichlorian thing, which is great.
Yeah.
If you're making up a religion, and it's the official stance of this podcast that they're all made up,
Right.
then get rid of the shit that doesn't work or that might be destructive. Like the Jedi's just said, you know what? We don't like that. We're not going to include it. Good for them.
Yeah.
So
Like all religions, they just ignore the parts that are inconvenient.
yeah, but they just excised it. They didn't bother keeping it in their stupid holy books.
They're legit.
Legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, various institutions around the world have met this movement with the full range of emotion from bemusement to outright hostility. The IRS granted the Temple of the Jedi Order tax-exempt status in 2015, and it's pretty funny that on the...
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, if you're going to do it for the Scientologists, fuck
Exactly.
you.
Well, there's way more Jedis than Scientologists.
most definitely.
Yeah.
And
Moses Eisley.
they're...
Oh! We're getting in the groove.
I'm feeling it. Yeah, I know.
the letter from the IRS is great. It's like the pro forma, you've been granted tax-exempt status, but it's addressed to the Order of the Jedi Temple. From the IRS. Yeah, it's great. However, in the UK, conservatives have fought hard to prevent it from achieving official status, obviously because it shines a bit of a light on the absurdity of state-sanctioned religions in the first place.
Yeah.
If you want a good laugh, there is a YouTube clip of two Jedis on, of all things, the Piers Morgan show, arguing with a Catholic woman who disputes that Jediism can be a religion. The hair-splitting she attempts to explain why Jediism cannot be a true religion while Catholicism can is something to behold. It's pretty great.
Well, that's when they should bring back the midichlorians. Because there's just blood, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
We're both all about blood.
Yeah. So there is a movement in New Zealand and Australia to get people to not mark Jedi in the upcoming census because it is actually making both countries appear more religious than they really are.
Yes, I like it.
And this actually affects zoning and can possibly affect where restaurants, bars, and parks can be built.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Their hilarious monkey wrenching could actually really fuck shit up.
Exactly.
Oh, no.
And there's a couple little cases that I thought were hilarious because in 2007, a guy named Daniel Jones was ejected from a Tesco in England for not removing his hood.
From an airlock.
For not removing his...
He wouldn't take his hood off. In 2010, a man was tossed from a job center, for doing the same thing, proving the absurdity of religious garb and proving that Jediism is a very white religion.
Yeah,
Have those
right.
two people not been white?
They're both alive.
Exactly. So yeah, it exists mostly online. It's utterly decentralized. Mostly like the ceremony to become a Jedi Knight is done in a chat room, so you're sitting in your living room when you do it, and it's basically harmless.
yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah,
You know?
the other thing in the prequels that I found really galling about it was they seemed suddenly to become some sort of enforcement arm for trade.
Yeah.
And then there was the one where Yoda says, "Aim at the center of the ship," and they blow that giant round ship full of people up. And I was like, "What the fuck was that?"
Well, first of all, where were you aiming before that?
Well, also, Yoda told you to kill all those people. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like the complete betrayal of what they were.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
I'm
anyway,
fine.
there's your Jedi movement.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Who's the more foolish, the fool or the fool who follows
Damn,
him?
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, and something about the Force. and having it be with you.
Oh, don't forget, May 4th is the official holiday of the Jedi religion.
That's true.
right.
May the 4th be with you.
That's right.
All right.
On that note,
Religion's all stupid. Let's move on. Uncle Doug.
Uncle Dan.
Whenever there's trouble, we're there on the double. There's a mystery about.
we're the heretic gang.
Yeah, exactly. Boy, our generation is
People
loving
under
it.
40 are like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Everyone over 40 is like, oh my God.
Yeah,
remember
exactly.
that.
Yeah, we literally just caused an earworm that will echo through the ages
yeah.
for old guys.
Well, it's, and that's the part of the theme song to the Bloodhound Gang.
Right.
That did solve crimes. And this week we're going to talk about a crime.
Yeah, Uncle Mark's got a mystery for us. We should get Scooby and Shaggy out here.
Yeah, we got a little mystery machine. So, last week I talked about a terrible event that took place 40 some years ago here in Salt Lake, where a number of children perished in a religiously fueled panic, but history barely remembers them and that day.
You're making me nervous now, Mark.
Well, believe me, this is sad, but not fucking nearly on that level. So.
Okay, good.
And it's got a really happy aspect too, which we'll get to.
Oh, hurrah.
So I was researching something else, which was one of 1,000 incidents of infamous Catholic shittiness, when I stumbled across a really obscure story of one child. And it caught my eye, which made me think of the movie Prometheus, when when the android David quotes Lawrence of Arabia right before he introduces the xenomorph pathogen into his human shipmates' bloodstreams, where he says, "Big things have small beginnings."
You entirely lost me on that. I will admit.
Well, just stick with the big things have small beginnings. This is one of those strange moments in history. So,
Got it.
Well, also the fact that there's a story that involves Catholicism and only one kid, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It was a simpler time. So here I paraphrase the author of the seminal work on the topic, David Kurtzer, who said, "This story of an illiterate servant girl, a grocer, and a little Jewish child from Bologna may have changed the course of both Italian and church history."
Huh.
So that's right. Today we will discuss how the Pope, legally kidnapping one child, brought the church to its knees and lost the Pope most of his gilded kingdom on earth.
What?
Yeah, I didn't know anything about this before. So you may not know that after the fall of Rome in 476 CE, what we now know as modern Italy did not just spring into being as a boot-shaped nation unified under a common red, white, and green flag from hip to heel.
No, it was more of a strappy sandal, wasn't it?
No, it's a thigh boot for sure.
Oh, okay.
It's like a musketeer boot. Carefully watched over by no fewer than 61 governments of varying degrees of corruption since just World War II. No, sir. God. What is now the wonderful nation of Italy is quite a recent political reality.
Right.
It only took shape, something like its modern shape, in the late 19th century. When our story takes place around 1858, the peninsula and surrounds were a super weird patchwork of little kingdoms and duchies, one of which was called the Papal States. So as we discussed way back in episode 11, when we were talking about how the Vatican came to be a wee tiny country in just 1929, we discussed that the Papal States, pretty much the whole middle section of the Italian peninsula, in the Papal States, the Pope was the literal king, presiding over not just a criminal child rape concealment enterprise and a few acres of churches and museums like today, but governing trade, commerce, agriculture, taxation, etc., of hundreds of thousands of regular people, as kings do. Now that I've set the scene, picture, if you will, the humble but hopeful Mortara family of Bologna, a perfectly fine city within the arcane Papal States. While the Jewish Mortara family was by no means rich, they were well off enough to hire a nanny and housekeeper to help with their 8 children.
That's good.
Yeah, so far so good, right? Now, I know 1858 doesn't seem like the modern age to us now, but if you were a Western European Jew, it was a modern, almost golden age. The fruits of post-Enlightenment Europe, early democratic movements, and other liberalizing forces had begun to make life for the Jewish populations of most countries bearable.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
It all worked out.
And nothing bad happened to Jews ever again.
Straight line to now. In larger urban areas, Jews were becoming more and more seen as normal, even valued parts of cultural and commercial life. Things would get, as you mentioned, much worse later, but we'll leave that for another time. So, despite the improvement in the lives of the average Jew, there were still anti-Jewish laws in the regressive papal states. One of which was Jewish families could not have Christian servants.
Oh,
Right? Christians could not do menial tasks for Jews.
No. That would be disgusting.
Terrible. But many observant Jewish families had one, so life in the house could carry on during the Sabbath. Listeners in Brooklyn will know these people as Shabbos goys.
Right.
Someone who can turn on a light or go out shopping or use the oven, et cetera, on the Sabbath, right?
It's helpful to have one around.
We're goys come in handy once in a while. So
Goys will be goys.
and truth be told, apparently the law was not strictly enforced in the papal states. So they allowed the Jews to kind of let it slide. So the Mortara family hired a nanny called Anna Nina Morisi. And Anna Nina Morisi was a poor rural girl to help out around the house.
Sure.
She was desperate to save money for a dowry so she could get married because that was a thing.
Yeah, you got to have some good money if you want to.
You got to pay a guy to marry you.
You want to pull in some of that sweet action.
So it turns out the Mortaras were remarkably kind-hearted people for the time and the place, because when Morisi, the nanny, got pregnant out of wedlock, the Mortaras kept her in their employ when the typical custom would have been to fire her on the spot. But because it was Catholic country in the papal states and shamey, they paid her for the last 4 months of her pregnancy to go live elsewhere, carry the baby to term, and then, of course, give it up to an orphanage, as very much required by law in the papal states.
Right. That is generous, though, of them.
It is generous, and then they brought her back to work like nothing had happened, right? So
It's more generous than our current set of laws regarding maternity.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And the nanny Morisi would end up repaying this kindness with what became an internationally infamous act of what was probably unintentional cruelty. And it was this. Sometime in his infancy, little Edgardo, the sixth of the Mortara children, became sick. Worried not just about his mortal life, but his unsaved Jewish soul, the illiterate and deeply superstitious Morisi confided in the neighborhood grocer, a guy called Caesar Lepori, of her concerns. He apparently told her she could secretly baptize the child, and should he die, he would, like all dogs, go to heaven.
That's nice.
So Morisi, mind you, not an ordained priest, and most importantly, a woman,
Right.
secretly baptized Edgardo.
Oh, so she did it. She didn't sneak him off to a priest.
No.
She just sprinkled some water on his face.
Just moistened his forehead.
Precisely right. She secretly baptized Edgardo without the consent of his parents,
Yeah.
who were also her employers and her benefactors. So, luckily, little Edgardo survived whatever malady befell him, and recall, at the time, most of the world was decidedly anti-vax.
Yes.
So, and life in the Mortara household went on as normal, but not for long, dear uncles.
Uh-oh.
A few years later, an official of both church and state, the Inquisitor of Bologna, a guy named Father Folletti, was sniffing around for someone to accuse of something and persecute for anything, as inquisitors do.
Inquisitors got to inquisit.
Exactly right. When he heard rumor of a Jewish child being baptized a Catholic somewhere in the city, So I can't help but imagine this guy as the freaky fucking child catcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Remember that fucking guy?
I don't, but I have other friends who are terrified of him.
I'm still terrified of him. He was a nightmare. So Folletti the Inquisitor goes sniffing around, and before long, he traces the rumor to Morisi the nanny. She admitted to sprinkling water on the child's head, and though once again she was a woman, she was not an ordained priest, and it was not holy water. She told him, I baptize you in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost. And boom, the baby was legally a Catholic as far as the Inquisitor was concerned.
Okay.
Rules are rules. It's not. Don't hate the player.
Don't hate the Inquisitor. So just a year or two prior, the last Pope, who gives a fuck, reaffirmed that it was against church doctrine to allow a Catholic child to be raised by non-Catholics.
Oh, my God.
Even if the people raising it were its own biological parents, and even if they had no idea their minor dependent child was technically and legally a Catholic.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Taking a ceremony done out of their control without their permission.
Right. So,
too bad you got a Catholic one.
Folletti the Inquisitor, always the officious clerk, wrote to Rome asking permission to legally kidnap the 6-year-old child. And I think around 6 is like when you start to get attached, right?
Yeah,
To your kid. Prior to that, it's like, whatever. But so naturally permission was granted. 2 civil policemen went to the family house and explained to them what was about to happen.
Oh, my God.
This was the first time the Mortaras had heard anything of it. And they instantly fell into a state of shock and panic, of course.
Yeah.
Mrs. Mortara threw herself over Edgardo in his bed and said they would have to kill her before they could take the child. An uncle was dispatched to the Inquisitor, ran and found him, and begged for an explanation, to which Folletti kindly responded, "It's confidential." You don't even, it's on a need-to-know basis.
That's right.
And clearly you don't need to know.
We'd explain it to you gladly if you were a Christian, but unfortunately...
So the kindly Inquisitor Folletti did, however, accede to one request. He granted the family one more day with the 6-year-old child that they would probably never see again.
Oh, my God.
How kind.
Because as we know, Catholicism is based on mercy.
Right.
So, long story short, the ecclesiastically legal and publicly legal kidnapping occurred. The bewildered child was taken off to live with, in the worst possible scenario for daycare options, Catholic priests in a monastery. Even the police involved said it was a disgrace and the worst thing they had ever had to do. But since the church was the state, they were powerless. So
now they're all, not only are they fathers, but they're dads.
They're dads. So it's this crazy sitcom about my 40 dads.
Right. Monks raising a baby.
Well, soon I'll tell you about the one dad he had. So
remember
how I said this period was a newly semi-liberating time for the Jews of Europe?
You did say that.
Part of that liberation was a newfound voice as entire communities of Jews in various countries, which a lot of them had newspapers. They had some political pull. So Jewish newspapers broadcast this outrage across Europe and the UK. It found its way to broad publication in the pretty seriously anti-Catholic United States. And then non-Jewish mainstream papers all across the world began to run with the story in kind of a serialized form, claiming that Pope Pius IX himself had personally directed the kidnapping. A detail that, while not technically provable, was made to smell true because the boy was soon spending his days playing and hanging out with the Holy Father, who tried to convince the traumatized child he was his true father.
No.
Wow.
Yeah. So, little aside for our papal party animals out there, Pope Pius IX is now a saint whose feast day is February 7th.
Oh.
That's this week, bitches.
And we all celebrate by kidnapping a Jew.
Kidnap a little Jewish kid. It's the law. We don't like it either.
Look, it's just what we do. It's part of our religion. You can't persecute us for it.
That's right. So he was also the longest serving pope ever. And the first pope to be photographed, which should tell you a little bit about this papacy and its clumsy intersection with the modern age.
Yeah.
Well, that's crazy.
That's a fun one. Did they get a picture of him with the kid?
No, oddly enough. Because as we all know, Jews cannot be photographed.
Right.
They don't show up on film. And actually, the Pope looks a little bit like late stage Shatner. So just to paint a picture for you. So anyway, the Catholic newspapers across the world punched back, but their claims strained the limits of the plausible to a world weary of a millennium of Catholic bombast and excesses. They claimed he was some kind of divine infant, taking to the unfamiliar scriptures like a fish to water, drawn to images of the Holy Mother Mary, to which I would say he was just snatched from his own mother. You hardly need a miracle to understand his affinity for maternal imagery. So, Uncle Dan, you may or may not know that in our young lives, Uncle Doug and I were involved in a brutal custody battle, not over us, but over some very close relatives. As both families were comprised of terrible people, the fight started awful and got exponentially worse. Accusations of the most slanderous and salacious kind flew back and forth for years, devastating everyone involved.
Is this true, Doug?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's truly true.
It's true.
So reading about this international drama sounded very much like that, these back and forths in the newspapers. Except in this case, one party was 100% totally in the right. The Mortara family.
Right.
So, Pope Pius IX, who you'll be surprised to learn about a pope, seems like a detached, pompous asshole, was outraged by the outrage and doubled down on his determination to keep this child and mold him into a priest who would convert Europe's Jewish population. a secret weapon against the cursed Jews.
From their own ranks.
But it turns out Pope Pius was very dependent on the support of Catholic monarchs, most especially a guy called Napoleon III of France. The Pope no longer had any army to speak of, which he used to have, and the Papal States lived off of ever-increasing foreign debt, so Napoleon III's money and army kept the absurd little kingdom afloat and alive. And even in heavily Catholic France, the story infuriated the populace. Several prominent figures in the European Jewish community, including the vastly powerful Rothschild family, to whom the Pope was deeply in debt as well, tried to intervene to get Edgardo returned. The Pope, refusing to smell the rage on the wind buffeting his increasingly not-so-windproof little kingdom, refused to budge. In fact, and you'll love this, he whined to a Jewish delegation that came to visit him about Edgardo that everybody was crying for the family, but nobody was crying for him, because he was entitled to feel like the boy's father, too.
This feels very Trumpian.
It's totally Trumpian.
In its nature.
I'm telling you, it's fake news.
Where was the sympathy
happy
for him?
Right.
The kidnapper.
Yeah.
Everybody's all mad at the hurricane, and nobody's upset about how sad it was that I had to go and talk to those dirty people after it.
I threw my shoulder out throwing paper towels at those Puerto Ricans. So.
Yeah.
So, of course, it is the universal truth of it, dear uncles. Across the centuries, the one thing that binds all religious bullies, fanatics, and oppressors together is that they're always the victim.
Yeah.
So, while the oblivious Pope was busy playing with his stolen boy and grooming him to be a great ex-Jewish crusader, Napoleon III made a deal with the Kingdom of Sardinia to drive the occupying Austrians out of the rest of Italy, dismantle the Papal States, and unify all of Italy. He just could no longer justify military and financial support for this idiot Pope and the firestorm he was causing. So, within months, the Papal States were reduced to a sliver of their former selves, essentially the city of Rome. The people of Bologna had declared their freedom from pontifical rule, and their first new order of business was to declare religious freedom and equality of all citizens, and officially outlaw the now 600-year-old Inquisition.
Oh.
And arrest the Inquisitor, Father Faletti.
Oh, excellent.
Wow.
So there's a ton more to the story. Huge investigation by the police of newly free Bologna, the trial of the Inquisitor, another kidnapped Jewish child sent from Rome, sent to live with the same thick-skulled Pope, etc., etc. But the real meat of this tale is how the once unquestionable, infallible Pope, not even imagining he was capable of overreaching, suddenly found himself in a new age where he did indeed overreach, and in so doing lost his kingdom and accidentally unified Italy.
Wow.
So
can I just point out, you mentioned this infallibility thing. I Googled Pope Pius IX, just as you were talking, and the first thing it says is that, or one of the first things that it says, is that he was the one who convened the First Vatican Council, which was where papal infallibility was established,
was codified into canon law.
Yeah,
yeah.
So he was the one that declared popes infallible,
a little Trumpian,
and then got pretty fucking fallible.
Yeah, a little Trumpian, and then he lost the kingdom.
He fouled.
He fouled. So on a melancholy note, sadly, Edgardo remained behind the walls of the monastery. His family was allowed to see him once in a while under very tightly controlled circumstances. He remained a priest until his death in 1940.
Oh, wow.
Though Pope Pius's dream of Edgardo converting all of Europe's Jews seems not to have come to fruition yet.
Well, it seems like right after 1940, if he had just waited a few more years, there would have been a lot less work for him to do.
Whoa. Cody, you know what to do. So anyway, to conclude, there's a really excellent book on this situation by David Ketzer called The Kidnapping of Edgardo Mortara. Brilliant name. For anyone interested in a deeper dive on this crazy story, I thought that was it as far as any reference to this obscure but historically seismic event. But no. A young upstart filmmaker by name of Steven Spielberg is in pre-production on a big-budget movie adaptation of this.
Nice.
Oh, no kidding.
There you go.
So out of obscurity it shall soon be.
Thanks to us.
Yes.
I'm going to take full credit.
You heard it here first.
You're welcome, Steven. So let's see if Spielberg can, for once, get through a strong moralistic narrative without needing to tack on 14 separate endings.
Right.
Somehow I doubt it. So anyway.
Look for Eric Bana to be playing Pope Pius.
Actually, I think Eric Bana is playing Edgardo.
I I knew it would be ban. Is he really? Is he? It seems like
It's a 6-year-old child.
It's Andy Serkis.
I feel like he could do it. I feel he's a good.
It's Andy Serkis.
But, Father, I don't want to go with them.
All right. That's probably enough of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Pope, stop kidnapping children, motherfucker.
Oh, like that's gonna happen. But anyway, we'll move on.
All right.
Uncles,
Hey,
how are we doing?
genitals.
What?
Gentlemen. I don't know.
That's the confluence of gentlemen and uncles.
Yes,
We have some people to thank.
we do. And we thank them by saying words like
The
genitals.
3 genitals. Okay, we're off to a great start.
Where are your audio gonads? And we're here for your amusement. And if you are amused by us, sometimes you give us money. And
Yeah.
we love the ones that do that more than we love the ones that don't. It's just a sorry fact of life.
Yeah.
So we have some folks to thank, new patrons. And so let's just do that. Thanks first to Michelle and to Dorian. Uncle Dan's getting old. Sorry, Dorian, as he moves his computer closer to his head. And then we gotta assign us some patron saints.
Hosanna.
Hosanna, indeed. So Uncle Mark, who is Chris's patron saint?
Oh, Chris, this one is right on the tip of my tongue. You will be protected forever under the patronage of Saint Frantastica
Oh,
of Murfreesboro.
I've been to there.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place.
It was surprisingly better than I expected.
The patron Saint Frantastica is the patron saint of discount plus sized apparel
Sure.
and Interstate 80 westbound between Reno and Sacramento.
Okay.
Yeah, so congratulations
stretch.
on that.
That is glorious.
It's a beautiful stretch of road.
What a wonderful thing. What a boon for you, Chris.
Yeah.
And Uncle Doug, a patron saint, if you would, please, for Jillian.
Jillian, your protecting saint is Saint Vladimir of Vladivostok.
Oh, that's a lot of Vlads.
That's a lot of lauds. He is the patron saint of unsanctioned cavity searches and unregistered vehicles.
Oh,
So,
okay.
there you go.
Great.
Tying up a lot of loose ends, Saint Vladimir.
I do like a good unsolicited and uncharted cavity search.
Yeah, not everybody can be the patron saint of Ireland.
That's right.
Somebody's got to pick up the pieces.
There's some dirty work that needs to be done.
Yes,
Right.
indeed.
So, if you want to join the ranks of the sainted, the beheavened, and just the be thanked, you can do that by going to our website, howtoheretic.com, clicking on the Patreon link,
and then what happens, Doug?
Well, if you'd like to find out how to have us make a saint up for you on the spot or have your own personal heaven, make sure to go to patreon.com, like Mark said, and see what it takes.
and how to get early access. And if you can do those things, and also if you can't, please go anywhere you can give us 5-star reviews, give us 10, lie,
Yeah.
just do whatever. We don't give a shit.
It's just not being a dick.
Just don't be a dick.
So there you go.
Give money, give stars, and we'll keep giving you love.
Yeah, you got to give us. You got to help us out with the 5-star reviews because we've had a couple of 1-stars lately, and it hurt our feelings deeply, and threatens to hurt our star rating.
That's right. And
There
we're
you go.
going to find you.
That's right.
We will track you
Punch your
down.
ass down.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on.
Well, Uncle Doug,
Uncle Mark.
sometimes I wonder what's up there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, what's up? If man could reach the sky, what would he know?
Very good question.
Right? It seems a vain, glorious pursuit.
Yeah.
But why not try?
What if we build a 3-story building? What could happen?
Yes. What if we climb one of yon mountains out the window?
Right.
No one's ever done it. No one's ever touched the sky.
It seems impossible.
Except for the one time.
Yeah, it seems impossible. We probably shouldn't do it. There could be consequences. I don't know. Uncle Dan, what's your opinion?
Here's the thing. Okay, as you're hinting at,
Yes.
I'm just going to spill the beans, and we're talking about the biblical story that takes place in Genesis chapter 11.
Therefore, it's true.
Therefore, it's the literal truth.
Yes.
of the Tower of Babel.
Huh.
Or Babel, or Babel, or whatever.
Yeah. Which is a real thing that happened.
A phrase that never actually appears in the book, but that's fine.
Oh.
They talk about let's build a building and whatever. Here's the thing. It's actually a very short segment of the Bible.
Yeah.
It's only 9 verses.
Which is, in biblical terms, is so merciful.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Although, when you get more, and it's not like just a bunch of begats, there's more room for, the tying of foxes together or the forbidding of the eating of greater and lesser marmots or whatever.
What I call fox pairing.
So yeah, I mean, it does mean that we are denied some delightful moments, but there's a lot to unpack from this little bit of text, and it's a very important story within both Christianity and Judaism. So I thought we better discuss it.
All right.
And I'll start by saying that I was taught this in church.
Sure.
In Sunday school.
We all were.
And of course, as with all Bible stories, the things that I was taught are not actually located in the Bible.
Right.
They're just concepts that people have expounded upon and decided that this is what it means or whatever.
Let's call it fanfic.
So I'm going to start by saying, by opening up the floor to you gentlemen and saying, what is this story about? What happens in this story, and what is the meaning and purpose of this story?
Well, from what I remember, from Sunday school, it's about ambition,
okay,
or trying to rival God,
okay,
and then it's about us not speaking the same language.
Right.
I thought it was that man thought he could reach the sky and reach the gods, reach God. Yeah. And for our vanity and our pride, the greatest of the sins, we were struck with many tongues.
Okay.
Which one of us won?
You're both correct in that that's what everybody says, and a lot of that is supported in the text, but a lot of it is overlaid onto the text as we learn. I think what I'm going to do is just read from the Holy Bible.
All right.
And let's just have some fun with this.
It's important to Doug to know which one.
Hey, I'm open-minded. It's the new Doug.
It's new Doug. It's the new international Doug version. Speaking of which, maybe I will just read from the NIV, the New International Version. It does change slightly, and I actually read like 5 or 6 different versions of this. But in the end, it's mostly the same. There's a lot of focus on bricks and mortar, but that's okay.
Okay.
Chapter 11 begins with, "Now the whole world had one language and a common speech." By the way, this is post-Diluvian. This is
post-Noah.
After the flood. Apparently everybody's sort of started to build up. And the preceding chapter, Genesis chapter 10, is all about where everybody came from and like whose sons were whose and that sort of thing.
Okay, that's great. That's gripping stuff.
It's mostly just really goofy names and people named things like the Kittites and the Rodanites and stuff. So apparently they like sculpture.
or Japanese monster movies.
Right, indeed. So anyway, the world had a one language and a common speech. And people moved eastward. They found a plain in Shinar and settled there. We're in Mesopotamia now.
Okay. Yep.
We are in
You're between the rivers.
Babylonian area. We're in the middle of the river.
Yeah.
Meso and then Potamia. Yes. Okay. They said to each other, "Come, let's make bricks and bake them thoroughly." That's a good point. You don't want a half-baked brick.
You want a well-done brick.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you don't want to burn it either. It's like cooking a turkey.
Right, exactly. They used brick instead of stone and tar for mortar.
Bad idea.
Well, apparently. But
kind of oily.
It was working.
Kind of more of a lubricant than a solid material.
Nah, it's stickum. It's pretty good.
It's sticky, but boy, it's hot in the Valley of Shmervis.
Are you saying you know more than the Mesopotamians?
Heaven forfend.
They said, "Come." Oh, by the way, you'll be pleased to know that one of the translations translated the word not as tar but as slime. That's delightful.
I want to build a tower to the sky. Put the bricks on a bed of slime.
Yes. Ooh, it's wobbly. That's fun. Ooh, it's got a little.
No, keep going. Keep stacking up. Keep stacking up.
Little shimmy to it. That's fun. And it did blow down in the wind. Anyway, then they
slide
said
away into the river.
Verse 4, then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves. Otherwise, we will be scattered over the face of the whole earth." Why?
Wait.
Who knows?
So they built the tower in order to avoid being scattered.
Yeah, they just all wanted to hang out, and they wanted to make a name for themselves,
All right.
I guess.
With whom?
The other ones?
The Moabites and the Gronkites.
Don't-
The karate mites.
the dust mites.
The
and-
terabytes.
Just don't forget that, like,
Let's build a slimy pile of bricks. So everyone will go, look at those dumb fuckers.
the amazing thing here is that they, everybody is descended from the same great-great-great-great-grandpa or
Right.
great-grandpa or whatever. And remember that everybody's living to age 109 or 330 or whatever.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people, and this group wanted to make a name for themselves.
Yeah.
Who are these people? Are they does it say?
No.
Are they?
They're either the whole world or they're one group of them. It doesn't really say. What it says is, I mean, like I said, I started the chapter with, now the whole world had one language and a common speech, as people moved eastward. So it's people, in case you're wondering.
These are the peopleites.
The answer to your question is folks.
Okay, they're not the Israelites specifically.
Unnamed group of people moved east and decided to build a slimy tower.
And wanted to make a name for themselves.
I'm with you.
With well-cooked bricks.
With well-cooked bricks and slime / tar.
I'm here for it.
And otherwise, and if they didn't do this, they'd be scattered over the face of the whole earth. And they liked each other, apparently, so they didn't want that to happen. But
Okay, but all right.
now comes, as far as I'm concerned, now comes the mustache-twirling, teeth-gnashing bad guy of the story.
The guy in the top hat with the monocle.
But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower the people were building. The Lord said, "If, as one people speaking the same language, they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other."
Who's he talking to?
Great question. Isn't that fun?
And also,
He's the narrator.
Let us go down.
twice in 10 chapters of this fucking book, he's been like, oh, fuck. I got to kill all these people.
They're going
Right?
to
Oh, my God.
look at what they can do. In this case, it's not because they're sinning. They're not doing the thing that he commanded them not to do.
Yeah.
They're just building.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, crap. If they actually make this, they'll find out how good they are.
Right, if they're capable of building... So there are these ziggurats in Iraq, right?
Wow, good pull.
I'm an art school dropout. So
Yeah.
they figure that one of these might be what is referred to in the Bible as the Tower of Babel, and it's what, like 5-6 stories high?
Some of them may have gotten really tall.
Bigger than that.
Yeah, we may be looking at, let's see.
The pyramids were extant at this point. The Pyramid of Cheops, which is a fucking mountain.
Yeah.
Right.
So hardly less impressive than these Mesopotamian ziggurats.
Exactly.
The ziggurat of to the god Marduk
Yeah,
is
it's a classic.
which was an ancient Babylonian god. They say that it was 91 meters tall.
Whoa.
91 meters.
Yeah, so
Wait a second. That's
a really giant.
12 stories?
300 feet. It's probably like
No.
like
For real? That was 300 feet high?
30 stories tall.
Wow.
Jesus.
So a really, and by the way, these ziggurats are. I mean, you can sort of think of them they're not pyramidal, but they just each subsequent
It's kind of like
layer
a step,
gets
it's like a stepped
goes
pyramid.
inward a little bit. So
And every depiction of the Tower of Babel on you can pull up on Google Images is that structure. Is a version of that structure.
Some of them,
Some are kind of like the Roman Colosseum as a spiral.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But they weren't that. They were literally just they were either a step pyramid, which is like a gay wedding cake, or there's kind of a spiral version, which is like one of the ones in Iraq. But anyway,
Yeah.
wow, that's crazy talk.
So yeah, really, really big. They were capable of these really big things, and they think that maybe
That's a testament to the bonding power of slime.
It really is.
Yeah.
They're really good with that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, that particular Marduk ziggurat was destroyed by Alexander the Great, I think. Anyway, I've got
asshole.
that somewhere.
Boo,
Anyway,
boo, Alexander.
right. Anyway, so the Lord goes ahead and makes everybody speak a different language, or at least makes groups of people speak one. Like, I don't know how that works. It surely wasn't every human being spoke his own language. And it's just like, I guess I don't get to communicate with other humans now.
I guess I speak Portuguese now.
Yeah. Why did I get Korean?
Right. But I guess groups of different people suddenly spoke different languages. And so the Lord, this is picking up at verse 8, so the Lord scattered them from there all over the earth, and they stopped building the city. That is why it is called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of the whole world. From there, the Lord scattered them over the face of the whole earth.
Okay, so just going back in the earlier part of the story, the reason they built the tower was to not be scattered over the earth.
Correct.
They built the tower, and God scattered them over the earth.
Right.
I think that's an attempt at foreshadowing, at
Right.
saying I'm going to punish these people. I think
By giving them the one thing they didn't want.
that they feared.
Yeah.
And I would bet this is where biblical literalists think that the people of the earth came from, like the far-flung nations of the earth.
Well, it's the explanation for why there are so many languages in a world that's only 6,000 years old.
Right.
Right.
Well, and it's so weird. I don't know. There's a lot to unpack in all of this. But to my mind, how do you interpret this anyway but the Lord was just being a dick?
That's
the entire Old Testament.
exactly.
No, I mean, at very least, in other cases, at very least, he made a commandment, they didn't follow it, you get destroyed.
Right, and he didn't give them any warning here.
There was no commandment.
No.
He was just like, oh, shit.
They're more powerful than I
They're
thought.
figuring it out.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing, like, there are these, even though Alexander destroyed that particular one, there are these huge ziggurats and pyramids and, like, that predate, a lot of that shit predates this story.
Yeah.
Right? And now we can probably do some drilling and figure out what the actual origin of this story is, because it's probably pre-biblical, like Utnapishtim and Noah.
Yeah.
But, so this idea that if you build something too big, he'll come and punish you is bullshit, because people were doing it all the time.
Well, and also, okay, so the lesson from this story, from the Christian
Is there
perspective,
a lesson?
if there were a lesson,
Yeah.
I mean, the lesson that we were all taught, that you guys pointed out, is
Arrogance.
don't have hubris.
Yeah.
And it's a show of hubris to build something very tall. Now, you tell me
Donald Trump.
how this applies in a modern society when literally everybody is making things as tall as they can
Right.
to make a name for themselves.
So
Yeah, truly.
Donald Trump is not only the living embodiment of the 7 deadly sins,
right.
he is the living embodiment of what's supposed to be the moral of this story.
And that's why
Don't
none
be
of us can
prideful.
understand his language.
Yeah. Is there something in the text about a bow shot? Wasn't that one of the things I remember from that they said, we'll build a tower as high as your finest. That might have been some backfilling. Your finest archer can fire an arrow.
No.
So a guy shot an arrow up into the sky.
That's
but then
not from this.
Who was up there measuring? And isn't there a dude named Nimrod in this story?
There is a dude named Nimrod.
right.
Nimrod kind of comes along afterwards.
What did he do?
Oh, stuff.
Nobody knows because I couldn't understand a fucking word he said.
Yeah, it literally no
was speaking
names are
Norwegian.
named within the telling of this story.
Okay.
I literally have just read to you the entirety of this story.
Gotcha.
It then goes on to tell us all about Shem's family. I think later in the book, Nimrod is referenced in reference to this thing.
Okay.
I literally just focused on this part of the thing.
Huh.
But it is, it's so interesting to me that what was told to me as why this story was important, and this story was told to me as an important Bible story as a child.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Well, oftentimes when we do these Bible stories, what the intent of the moral of the story is fairly clear. It's just a terrible moral.
Yeah.
Right. It's the wrong thing.
Right.
It's like if you fuck your daughter, then just hide all the chess pieces, and then the angel will come and the river will dry up, something like that. But and it's like, oh, that's awful. But this, I don't see what the intent of the story is. It is, at best, kind of a very loose parable about pride, I suppose.
Yeah. At best.
But even though, I mean, it doesn't ever actually explicitly say that. God doesn't talk about the motives of the people building it. Just that
they want to
they're
make a
building
name
it
for themselves, which to me is kind of pride.
Right. So so that makes sense that you would just say, I mean, this is it's a prideful thing that they want to do this, but like literally all of humanity all the time, and including the Bible, all throughout the Bible, righteous, good people are trying to make a name for themselves.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck was David doing? What the fuck
For
was
sure.
Daniel doing? What were any of these guys doing but making a name for themselves?
And what's unique in this story, not unique, but it's certainly not common, is that God explains his motives, explicitly. He says, hey, look, they're getting too smart. They're getting too industrious.
Yeah.
We got to change
They
that.
might figure out how good they are.
He didn't say they're getting prideful.
No. He says they will actually figure out how good they are. I have to put a stop to this.
Yeah.
So it's a biblical cry for stupidity.
Yes,
I suppose.
It is basically, and the Lord realized that they were getting good at their shit, and he decided to just fuck with them. Like, literally, the Old Testament God is a kid with an ant farm who every now and then needs to shake it up and ruin their lives.
This is probably the most great and powerful Oz story
Totally.
in the Bible, that he's desperate they don't see behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And if they get up 6 stories,
You're right.
basically a medium-sized hill
Yeah.
that are hither and yon around the Middle East, they might see behind the curtain.
Also, listen, Bible literalists. Great. You believe in the literal truth of the Bible. How come God's not terrified of the Burj Khalifa?
Right.
We're building really insane buildings right now, and they're just getting higher. They're just getting better. They're just getting more and more. At what point does God, confuse our language?
More so, we have built a tiny city that's in orbit.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Looking down that needs magnification to see the Burj Khalifa.
Right.
Right? So
not only that, but we have technology that unconfuses our language. So
technology.
I've got it in my pocket.
Right, exactly.
No, and the thing is too is this is supposed to be part explanation for why there are so many languages, right?
Right.
And there's a lot of mythologies that are explanatory like that, like why do the seasons change?
Right.
Why are there stars in the sky? This is just an old stupid myth about that got put in the Bible, and now people talk about it.
That is from ignorance.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know where all the different languages came from.
Right.
It came from oceans of fucking time on this earth.
Exactly.
With different people developing different cultures and languages all the fuck over the place.
Just like geology
They're
and
like,
every other
nope,
science.
it was a slimy pyramid.
Exactly.
And pride, maybe.
But modern linguistics proves how old humanity is, because you can trace the origins of these languages back thousands and thousands of years.
Right, there's linguistic anthropology.
Incorrect. You can trace them back to just a little bit before Christ, when the Tower of Babel happened. Shut your hole.
See, and that would be if all of linguistics pointed to one little place in Iraq,
and an explosion therefrom.
we would have to have a different conversation.
Right.
But then again, how are you going to know if God scattered everybody? And all I can imagine is God with a pitching wedge, just sort of knocking people over to
Australia.
You're going to Asia. You're going over to Europe. Or just whacking people down left and right. It is a coincidence that all of the people that ended up in Asia have sort of related languages, and all the people who ended up in Europe have related languages.
And my reaction to all of a sudden not understanding everyone around me wouldn't be to flee to Asia.
Hey, okay, everybody that knows what I'm saying right now,
This way.
let's go over here. We're going east.
We're going northeast-ish as fast as we can go.
That's right. Norwegian over there, Pigeon English over there.
Yeah. Wow, what a dumb story.
It is a dumb story. All of the Bible's dumb.
All right, well, I think we've wrapped that up.
I feel like there should be like a children's song called "All the Bible's Dumb." Will somebody please write that?
That's on us to write. So.
Okay.
All right, with that, let's move on.
Moving on.
Well, friends, that's it for this week's show.
Hey, we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email, howto@howtoheretic.com.
Or if you want to leave us a voicemail, you're perfect. It's cool if you want to call yourself Darth or Master or whatever. We don't give a shit. You can do that at 903-88-HOW-TO,
Hungus is taken.
which is 903-884-6986. I'm also on Twitter at Darth How To Heretic, Uncle Mark.
That's a very confusing Twitter handle. Hey, thanks once again to all of our patrons. We love you very much.
And thanks to Darth Cody Layton for editing the show.
And thank all of you for tuning in.
Bye, friends.
Au revoir.